Your book reviews don't have to be really long, incredibly detailed, or really all that professional, but they do have to be one thing: fair. Because when it comes to writing book reviews, the only thing standing in between you writing and pressing the publish button is your conscience. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some things not to do while writing book reviews with some real-world examples which are honestly kind of disturbing. Starting with perhaps the most shocking: don't review bomb. If you're not sure what review bombing is, because I wasn't until this scandal came about, then it's basically where a whole bunch of people, or one person in this case, leaves negative reviews on something to sway the overall reviews to be negative. This is generally done as a means of protest, either because the review bombers don't like the company behind the thing, or they don't like the decision the company has made behind the thing, or they don't like something that happened within the thing that they're review bombing. As an example, let's say a film company decides to leave out a particular scene in a film out of a franchise, and the fans of that franchise didn't like that they did that. They might then choose to review bomb the film as a means of protest. But when it comes to review bombing books, the case I'm about to share with you is, well, you'll see. Kate Corain was on her way to get her debut novel, Crown of Starlight, published when she did something that's frankly unforgivable. She was so close to being published that I have an advanced reader's copy of the book. Not that I've read it now. Instead of being a good and normal person, Kate created a bunch of fake Goodreads accounts to leave 1-star reviews on other debut authors' books, many of whom were people of color and also signed to her publisher, Del Rey Books. Kate used this technique, if we can call it that, to bring down the reviews of other authors in her cohort and build up her own by leaving positive reviews on her debut novel. The biggest scandal in this whole situation is that it took another author to post something on Twitter to bring this whole thing into the public domain before something was actually done about it. We wouldn't have even known this was happening if it hadn't been brought to light on Twitter. And the worst part is, all of these authors, who I will link in the description below, the ones that have been most affected, they would have felt that impact in their reviews and potentially on their sales, and of course on their mental health too. The result of this scandal was, of course, that Kate got dropped by her publisher and her agent and the UK arm of her publisher too, and the likely result is that this book will never see the light of day. But it does bring into question platforms like Goodreads and what they should be doing to prevent review bombing happening in the first place. The platform uses user reports to actually detect when something is a fake review, so maybe some more should be done. I think so. So using Kate as an example, let's just say creating multiple accounts and leaving reviews is never a good idea for anybody. It doesn't matter if your review is positive or negative, adding to review numbers in an illegitimate way is not a good idea. Next, let's talk about spoilers. Honestly, this one is a little bit tricky because what constitutes a spoiler is kind of up for debate. But let's just say anything that gives away any kind of plot point is something that you should not be including in your review at all. Unless of course you hide your review in a spoiler tag on the platform that you're putting the review on. The point of reviews in general is to encourage other readers to read the book if you really enjoyed it, or to inform them of things you generally didn't like in the book so they might avoid it. If unsure, here are a few personal rules I like to have in place. Introduction and setting. Feel free to discuss the book's setting, the premise, and introduce the main characters. This information is usually found in the book's summary and is expected in a review, so it's fine. Themes and tone. Discussing the themes, tone, and genre of the book is safe. For example, you can mention if the book is a suspenseful thriller, a heartwarming romance, or deals with themes like courage or betrayal. Plot overview. Provide a general overview of the plot, but keep it limited to the beginning of the story. Avoid revealing any twists, turns, or major plot developments that occur after the first few chapters. Avoid specifics of a climax or the ending. Revealing how the book ends or the resolution of major conflicts is a definite spoiler. Stay clear of discussing specific outcomes. Character development. You can talk about the character's journey or growth, but be careful not to reveal any major revelations or changes that are central to the plot. Your reaction. Share your general reaction to the book, what you enjoyed, and maybe what you felt could have been better. However, don't tie your reaction to specific plot points and give that away too much. Who would enjoy the book? Suggest the type of reader who might enjoy the book, whether it's fans of a particular genre or readers who enjoy certain themes or storytelling styles. This one seems obvious to some, but you'd be surprised. Don't review books you've not actually read. Surely it goes without saying that if you've not read a book, don't review it. There are so many books that have not even been released yet that have reviews of people saying they're excited for the book to come out. I'm not talking advanced readers' copies, I'm talking posts that just say they can't wait, and even ones that are giving 1-star reviews for no reason. Either this happens or people are reviewing books if they haven't actually finished reading the book. I understand when you want to mark a book as did not finish, and that is fine, but if you haven't actually finished the resolution of the story, then I don't think it's fair to leave a star review because you haven't finished the book. It would be like reviewing a film that you've walked out on halfway through. You can't really give it a fair review because you've not seen the resolution till its end. My personal rule of thumb is that if I did not finish a book, I will leave a reader's update which will say why I marked it as did not finish. This is one for the social media posters out there, myself included. If your review is below 4 stars, don't tag the author. As I said in my last video, negative reviews can be very helpful for authors when it comes to having feedback for future work, but only when it's done in a very controlled way. These negative reviews can be collated by somebody else and then delivered to the author in a constructive way when they're ready to receive them. Any other way is just a knock to your confidence. No author wants to open up their Instagram profile, check their notifications, and see that someone said their book dragged or didn't meet expectations. Don't do that to other human beings. Positive reviews though, 4 or 5 stars, tag the author. I bet it will make their day. Next, don't ignore the book's intended target audience. When reviewing a book, it's really important to take into consideration the intended audience of that book. For example, if the book is a young adult book, then there's no use in putting in your review that you didn't like that the characters were young or that they talked about teenage problems if you're not doing it in a constructive way. It's okay to not like those things in a book, sure, but if you're putting it in your review and saying that you don't like those things and that's why you're giving it a 1-star review or something, then you're not being fair to the intended target audience of the book. Instead, you could write it in a way that indicates that you understand that you are not the intended target audience. For example, I found the main character's journey a bit challenging to relate to, and her development seemed slow. However, I recognise that her story could be more appealing to avid readers of young adult fiction who are more attuned to these experiences. That seems a little better to me. You still get to keep your opinion, but you're being fair about it. But I want to know from you, what would you like to see less of in other people's reviews? And do you disagree with anything that I've said in this video? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.